this is overall going to enable us to refer afterwards. I am doing the session recording as well, but these recordings are really not a very reliable thing. There are, we are missing quite a few recordings. If you contact Devji and ask him, he'll tell you. This cloud thing does help a lot in IT, but overall, if you look at the customer point of view, there are a few things missing. So we need to prepare ourselves. That's why I'm saying, don't wait for the recording things. Try to build your own knowledge. Try to uplift yourself rather than depending on technology. I'm a technocrat, frankly speaking. Means I'm working in technology for the last 26-27 years, but still a day comes when I'll remember. I'll tell you an example. Used to have a palm top in 1999, 2001, 2002 when I was in US. Right, the Palm 3 was new, and I have procured one. I had all my notes, memos, contacts there. But when that Palm top crashed, one of the friends basically dropped it, and it just crashed. So I was almost lost, overall where to whom to contact, where to see the contacts, and all those things. So it's really difficult to totally depend on technology. And in smartphones, the smartphone really lures you to a level where you can basically start getting very dependent. Means even I have my to-do list on phones. I have my I'm an active user of WhatsApp. I have all my contacts on phone, but still I export these things to Excel and keep it on my laptop as well, just to make sure if anything happens to the phone, God forbid,
Yeah.
you'll be not lost at sea kind of scenario. So we need to really, and these are kind of homeworks, or these are kind of works which we need to do to train our mind for these tools. And this is important, because unless and until you'll try, I don't know where we are, right? So I couldn't help you more. I want to help you, and we need to reach to a level where we start building new tools, understanding new technologies, understanding how the BA works, and then start working on that. We are there to help you, but you have to put in these few efforts. Okay.
So you were talking about the BA book. So will you be
Mhm.
sharing that BA book with us, or we
Yes,
can
yes.
get it from somewhere?
No, I'll share it. No problem. I'll share. I'll put it on a WhatsApp group, and even there are three other documents which we will starting as in today. There's something
Okay.
called business requirement document. There's something called system requirement specification. I might have referred throughout the training, and there's a functional requirement specification. These three
Okay.
are the most important document as in BA. So we are going to understand where these fits and how we should get enabled, because these are the templates which you are going to use in real life. These are generic ones. There are templates of a domain specific BRDs and those things. So that we'll share whenever you join a company, so that you can get enabled yourself. You have those things with you, so that you
Okay.
can just start using them if the organizational maturity is not sufficient enough to support the template, support with the templates. Because if you have templates, whatever you work on are like kind of 20 odd sentences you write in a document, so you can really work faster. But if you don't have template, you have to create the template. You have to really understand what are the points I need to add, what are the points I can refrain from adding, and so on and so forth. So template guides you really well. We're going to discuss this thing today, so don't worry. But use case, I would really want to stop here for 2-3 minutes and try to sketch out something. And you can share in chat, you can share as in on a WhatsApp group, and
So
we can
you
go ahead
want
of
us to
that.
make a use case diagram, not the flow chart?
Yeah, sure. Now, see, I'm sharing the use case diagram. Could you see
Yes.
that?
Yes.
So if you can try building a diagram for making tea, it's a simple thing, right? You made tea, I made tea, or making coffee, whatever you like. Just sketch out some diagram.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Hi, Revati. Good evening. How are you? I couldn't hear. Could you speak a bit louder?
Hi, Ravindra.
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How about you?
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are we
Yeah.
late?
You started?
Come in, please. Have you worked on that use case diagram?
Use case?
No, I
No.
didn't.
Which one?
Last time you discussed, right? You were there
Yes.
last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one?
The same.
Yes.
This one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one. Okay.
So have you have you draw anything? Could you share it on WhatsApp or that'll be great help because I want to understand from you how we are doing in terms of one of the most important tools BA uses. So your thought process is really crucial for the whole thing. I have also requested Sheetal and Usha also to share those things.
I
So
think
these diagrams will let me know how you thinking in terms of as an BA. So that's really crucial. Okay, I got a diagram from Usha. That's great.
yeah,
Uh,
Revti also have sent, I think. She has also sent
okay.
because we together we made that.
This is not a together word, but okay, I
Yes,
can
yes,
understand.
but
No. I
next time
mean
we'll share.
no. It's not like that.
See, Nani, don't take it otherwise. This is kind of trying to see you're going to work as an independent BA, right? So I would
Exactly.
like you to give a try, please. Means it's a humble
Yes.
request. Don't take it otherwise.
No,
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 no.
no. It's not
Sure.
like
And Revati, could you please share it on the group again, please?
Okay.
Sure. No, this is really good. Usha, you're really did it good, and we'll also discuss this thing.
Thank you. I was doing it in more details on my system in the Word, but it's taking time. So I thought
I know, I can understand.
I'll
This is
do
good.
that
This is good.
later.
No problem. Mm, okay, let me share Usha's diagram because that's really Falguni have shared, and I can put on Falguni's diagram. Give me a minute. I'll stop sharing this, and I'll share Falguni's diagram first because she sent yesterday. Could you see this diagram?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me take a minute to get this thing WhatsApp started on my system so that I can gather all these diagrams and we can think it. This is really what I'll say. Okay. Falguni, I got it. Okay. This is really good thing, and we're trying to understand from each other how we can, do it best possible scenario. There's no wrong or right. Okay. So we're trying to grow together. We're trying to understand each other's thought process here, and that's really important. That'll make us, think like a BA. That will make us basically enable us to a level where we could, really, what you can say, excel in our, this thing. Okay, and I'll download these things. Open with photo viewer. Okay, this is the other one. Can I go the other one? Let me tell you. Okay, there are okay. This is from Falguni, and have a look. How she how she's thinking in terms of business process, making a
Excuse
tea.
me, sir. I'm sorry.
Uh,
This is mine, Revati.
okay. Oh, sorry.
It's
Oh, I
fine.
save your number as Falguni. I'm extremely sorry. I'll just change that thing. Give me a
Okay, sir.
minute. And that's why this goof up happened. Please pardon me. I have to edit this right. Okay, great. So this. Let's try to understand the process. So you'll first go take a pot, collect the water. You'll put it on a burner, right? You'll start the gas. You'll boil the water. Then add a tea powder. Then if you're using sugar free, whatever those things. So you'll get the sugar, add the sugar. If it's not with me, that's a decision box. That's clearly and it's really good thought process. Same thing with ginger powder. Add ginger powder. Add grate the ginger. Okay, grate the ginger, add the ginger, and add the milk. Pour the tea, and then drink the tea. The process ends here. So this is really good. right? Now here you are missing the closure part of it. Drink the tea, because we are making the tea for the drink. This is implied execution, right? So execution has also to be mentioned there. But this is really great effort, and thanks to you, you are on very right track. Okay, there are nitty-gritties we'll understand, we'll grow together. Okay, and rather than flowchart, I can add some dabba to this. I can add an actor and external gas as another actor. Our tap as another passive actor. These are passive actor. Me myself is an what you can say primary actor, right? And then I can put this thing in my system boundary. Drink tree, of course, goes to me. So try to do these things. You can do pen paper. You can use lucid charts. I've shared the link with you so that we can do, right? So this is really great efforts. And I'll go to, I believe this is from Usha, right?
This is from Revati.
Revati, sir.
Revati.
This is from, okay, this is from Usha then. Who's this from?
Revati.
All, no, both these are from Revati.
No, this is the screen you are sharing right now. This is mine, Revati.
Okay, and who's this?
This is the
No
same.
other.
Same screen we are seeing here.
Can you change the screen, please?
Okay. Wait a minute. I need to again stop share and share again, I believe.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, it treats as a two different screens, I believe. Okay. This one, the plain paper one. Could you see
Yeah.
this?
This is mine.
Yeah,
This
we
is
can see.
Usha's, yeah.
This is Usha's. Okay. Pardon me for that. Okay. So this is also really good. Put the pan, add the water, add sugar. See, we are really zeroing down on a decision making points, decision making notes. That's how you refer to in typical flowchart, activity diagram, or use case diagram. Okay, add tea powder, add sugar, and okay. If you don't want to add sugar, you can just what you can say, execute straight. Yes, in the sense you are taking a deviation from a normal path. So normally we assume that we don't have a ginger, we don't have sugar. So this straight execution is expected rather than no and then, because no, it's not your purview, right? You don't decide that. You don't have, so you can't decide. So you can just execute straight. Could you understand, Usha?
No.
Okay. If you don't have a ginger, right? You will not put.
Yes.
Right? So the no thing which is shown as an outward line and then connected to add tea powder, it should be a straight line after add ginger downwards, like this line. Could you see my cursor?
Okay.
Because there's no action for you, right? And this depicts the action, because whoever the actor or whoever the person is executing, if he has a role or a contribution, then you have these deferred lines, or what you can say, not straight lines, because there's a decision involved, there is effort involved. See, this diagram indirectly implies quite a number of things, believe me. Means if you really want to me to go to a philosophical level of use case, you can go to the nth level. This is like understanding spirituality, believe me. They have really come up with this use case evolved over the last 20-25 years. So whatever we can understand, we need to understand better, we need to do better. There's no right or wrong. So nobody can say, if you go and, check the books, nobody will say, this is not your action, so you have to put here or here. But this is what our understanding. This is how, because these diagrams are used to present the business process, right?
Okay.
So the thing is that whatever the actor is not doing is normally put in a straight line. So there's no deviation from a normal flow, right? It's like if the stone is there and nobody is, disturbing the stone, it'll be there. Newton's law, if you know.
Okay.
So, we need to clarify the things where we need action from user, action from somebody, action from some actor, right?
Okay.
So be it a flowchart, be it a use case, we need to depict those as well, indirectly. And this is really great because this tells us, how we can improve, how we can go ahead. This is really good. Means it's really great effort. Okay. I'll go ahead, basically. I'll stop sharing. So there's no right or wrong. What we were trying to do, we were trying to build ourselves acquainted with a tool, how we can do best, in terms of tools availability, because this will, put us ourselves as an BA, experienced BA. This will put us as an experienced user, if you look at the job market as well. And that's why I want to, you to learn these things by heart. and learn these things and try to practice this thing. Means this is not just the T part of it. Try to do certain processes like, drop your your kid to school. It's a simple process. Try to understand it through flowchart, because this will make you enable to understand complex business process to put in a diagram. And believe me, these diagrams basically presented in CEO, CTO to understand, to sign off, to approve. This is a part of a document. That's what we're going to see today. The document which BA, add the value to, and you include this diagram there, or you can present just the diagrams. I mean, this diagram can go to CEO, CTO and get it approved. Okay, you thought completely right. Now, on basis of this diagram, the project manager, the design, the system designer, system architect, they'll decide the technology. So if you miss or if you misplaced one of the flow, it'll going to hamper the overall, project. It will going to hamper the overall product, because that process will not be there, right? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say here? So if any BA forgets to put a procurement for, let's say, Sony, Iris reader, like the experience we were discussing before, right? The team will not procure Sony Iris reader. It will just go with Philips Iris reader, which is a cheap and which is really fit to the need. But yes, for an exceptional scenario, you need those, Sony Iris readers, right? We'll make a use case diagram for that, project we are talking at the end, because it comprises various exceptions, various extensions, and those kind of scenario. So I don't want you to go to the relationship right now, but try to make the basic use case diagram crisp and clear, because you need to understand this tool as an BA. We need to understand the business process, and each and every process execution is important. If you miss, the project team will miss, right? Because whatever document BA produces is normally a base for all the product, project or support. The all, definition, their functional requirement specification, their normally document which they refer to in terms of addition to the project and so on and so forth. Okay, so try to understand the criticalness overall. Okay, so I believe, is there any confusion as far as use case goes till now?
No.
Okay, so I'll take it, everybody understand the use case. Try to do it again in the best possible scenario. As in use case means have these system boundaries, have these, active actors, passive preliminary actors, secondary actors, and then you can do it the best possible way as far as use case diagram goes. Because now we have started learning tools. This is the basic primary tool which a BA must be enabled to. Now there are other tools which we going to use day in, day out, right? So I'll move to the next slide. Now let's try to understand how we can, make this more business oriented, right? Now, this was, kept as an homework. Basically, we did this thing, right? The process start with this is like this is what I used to take as an homework. So this is how we have given as an homework. If you want, you can try this as well. Frankly speaking, this is really good. This tells you a typical order processing for a user. Now you understand the system, then you can also build the relationship as well within the use case diagram. If you want to try, this is kind of a bit advanced for rather than making tea. So I'll just paste this thing in a chat box, so you can copy, and I'll just post it in a WhatsApp group, so you can really try to do these things whenever you have time. This might take half an hour. Okay, so I'll just give me a minute.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure, please go ahead.
In use case diagram, we need primary actor and secondary actor as well, right?
Right.
But in tea making process, I didn't get the secondary actor, so that's why I didn't make. So I was confused over there.
No. I can understand. No, don't worry. Let me tell you. Primary actor is you yourself, because you are making tea for you. If you are making tea, the gas, the stove, they are secondary actors. Overall, even the tap where you collect water, because you are getting something from somebody, right? Let's keep tap. See, use case doesn't depict or doesn't really understand the live and non-live actors. So we need to take all the effective party who are contributing in our project as an actors, and we can. So it's like pretty simple. And we will basically build this whenever you will create a use case diagram, you'll try to understand it more and more, believe me. So let's try these things today whenever you have time. This might take 20-30 minutes, but I would really love to understand from you how you think. So that's why the primary secondary actor does play an important part, because whenever see there's a procurement officer in a company, right? He's a secondary actor, because he is just supporting the primary actor to procure something, be it something like Philips Iris reader or Sony Iris reader or so on and so forth. Okay, does that answer your question? Do you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Great. So we are going to clear our thought process throughout this thing, and there are hardly few tools which are really important, which you will use, and let's master those. And there will be some tools which organizations suggest, right? So we have to use those tools, and so you can have a ample amount of time understanding that tools. When you basically understand the basic philosophy or the basic need of a diagramming, then you'll understand. You can do use case diagram in any tool, believe me. So you need to understand how the use case works, how the use case is connected with the process, how I can depict the process as in the use case diagram, right? And the activities, the actors, primary, secondary, and those things, right? So let's try to do these things whenever you have time. This will normally go for 3-4 pages. It'll take around half an hour. So I would really like you to spend on this. So rather than whoever not done, just try with this. I have pasted this thing in group so you can work on overall system design software. Try to design system. Try to understand from the point of a software BA. A business analyst is working in a software firm like Infosys. This is a simple thing, right? We gone to shop, we order for something, we procure something. This is like that only. Just try to understand, make it as detailed as possible. Okay, I'll move on.
Sir, I have just sent my use case on WhatsApp to you.
You send.
I just drew it roughly.
Okay. You can send it to the group, but no problem. Okay, wow, it's really in detail. I'll put this on a group. Basically, it's really good thing. Means I like the thought process. I like the overall. Let me. I'll download this. I'll open this and I'll share this. This is really good effort. Thanks for that. There's a Zoom. Let me stop share and start share again. So I'll start share. I'll share this screen, right? Okay, everybody can see this thing.
Yes.
Okay, great. So Amazon website system boundary. So there's an actor called customer who logs in, who search for a product, click on a desired band product, price match, yes, purchase, perfect. Browse, check for other brands. That's really good. Found manage your product. Found your range of production. Proceed to check. Okay, great, no problem. Make payment. What are these lines?
Sorry, I was trying to connect them.
No problem. I can understand. Okay, so straight lines are for where there is no interaction with any actor or decision making, right? So it's a simple process, simple step.
For the next step, that's it.
Sure, no problem. So transaction complete, exit. So you have the closure as well. That's really good. And accessible on a click, login, order placement. This is like
This is the role
okay.
of a developer, the backend developer who is giving the access of Amazon website. So
Now this is really good.
What are his duties? Like he has to give an access to whenever the customer clicks on login, he has to provide the necessary background support for everything.
Right.
The
I can
backend work.
understand. Sure. Now, this is really good, and I'll repeat again. I'm not saying wrong or right. These are the thought process which we need to modify in terms of developer can't be normally actor to a boundary, because developer is a creator, right? Philosophically, creator is a god. I'm not saying developer is a god, but try to think it from a use case diagram perspective. So developer is normally not a part of use case diagram. You mentioned it good. This is basically kind of support staff, or this is basically what you can say backend system rather than a person, right? Normally passive actors we depict as a systems, or other softwares or other machines which enable the actor, here the customer, to do things. Because if you have these, if you present these as a full-fledged actor, developer is a full manual actor, right? It basically, what you can say, diminish the purpose for a customer. So it's like हिंदी पिक्चर में दो हीरो है, so हीरोइन किसको देने का, अगर दोनों बहुत स्ट्रांग है तो. Pardon for this, but try to understand from a point of view. Whenever you design system, right, you need to understand the scenario. This is where the scenario and priorities does matter a lot. So wherever you build these use case, you need to think through, should I put it as an actor, as a customer? So whoever manual intervention are there, these are basically put it on the left side of the document, which are basically prime actors, which do initiate things like login, approvals. But in the back end, when you want to show, or when you want to show the system as a passive actor, passive means he's not active. So he normally don't represent a human actors. So these are basically systems. So what will say, backend systems. Whenever credential approved, he'll let him proceed to the order management and cash transaction. So this will create a order placement indirectly for the customer. So these are secondary actor. Everybody is understanding this thing?
Yeah, it was said in the video as well, right? You don't specify a particular person in the bank. It is we just call it Chase Bank.
Exactly. So you got the point. So these are crucial, because as in BA, when you start working as a BA, and whatever you depict in a diagram goes to a very senior management. So in those philosophical term, this doesn't fit overall. See, you're trying, and that's really good, and I really understand you gone miles ahead of overall thought process of what we've discussed, and this is really good. And we need to come up with such things. Do make such mistakes. We'll learn from this. Even I'm sure everybody now understand, because these are the questions we normally discuss in our workshop. But this is really good that we learning ahead as much as possible. So this is a really good thing, right? So you understood there are passive and active actors, right? Passive actors are normally system, or we depict as the system. So information sent to a seller, and seller receive payment. Okay, now this we need to break out in these dabbas and these symbols. But okay, I can understand. You might have done on another page.
Where do we put the seller? Is the seller considered as another actor? Where do I put him? Like in the left side or on the right side?
Okay, in this given activity, in this given flow of event, in this use case diagram, do you see seller contributing in a decision making?
No.
Great. So he's a passive actor. So he'll become on right hand side, and keep seller as a system. So you can show or you can show him as an actor also as well. No problem in that. But he's a passive. So whenever buyer asks him, seller sends him. So he's a kind of respondent to the actor. He's not starting any event. Do you understand? Whoever on the left hand side, these are the guys who are triggering events, who are starting the processes. These guys are enabling that process to go ahead, like the tap, right? We get the water from a tap. So this actor needs to start the tap, get the water, and then put the pot. So these are secondary actors. Don't feel don't think in terms of the complications. Think it as an enablement of a diagram to nth level to depict the process, right? I know this is a bit lot in terms of the current process we are learning the use case. This is just the second day we are trying to evolve with the use case, but this is really good tool. This is really great tool. If you know this, you can improve your daily life also. Means we'll discuss this thing whenever we do workshop. So that's why it's really crucial to understand prime and secondary actors and their differences. Okay, I believe everybody is clear, right? Santosh, Revati?
Yes.
Okay, great, no problem. This is crucial. I know this is getting a bit complicated, but this diagram enables us to think, and this is what I want from you, so that you keep thinking. Good,
I have
please.
a question. So during this use case diagram,
Mhm.
I mean, the passive person, is it not necessary that he should be connected in this box, or he can stay outside of the box?
madam, if you don't have tap in a house, how will get the water?
That's what I was thinking, no, because
No, he is connected. But unless and until you go to the tap and start, that what do you call tap head, तो पानी नहीं आएगा ना. जब तक आप घुमाएंगे नहीं वो नल, तब तक पानी चालू नहीं होगा.
okay, so let's take this example. Okay, the customer
Sure.
comes, he logins. Okay, so
Right.
where the passive person will join him, at what stage he will join him, and at where they will be connected together.
Wow, this is really, we are really getting deep into use case, believe me. So, okay, we are talking about existing timelines of an actor and a use case, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we use, sequence diagram for. Okay, but let me, go there and try to understand or try to make you understand how we do this thing, right? So normally the life expectancy of an actor, what use case considers to? These are passive element. Passive because we assume like they are there for us. So seller will be there. For Amazon means the sample, she have defined, the Amazon seller will be there at 24/7 for a customer.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it comes on a right hand side. But the customers initiate the action. He start the action. You as a person start making tea. So you collect a pot and go to a tap and start the tap. So unless and until you start the tap, the water will not flow. But the tap is there, right? रात में भी है, दिन में भी है, 24/7 है. ये अपन पकड़ के चलते. These are the normally assumptions and scenario which we put before business. So जब मैं बोलता हूँ कि I need a Philips iris scanner, I need a Sony iris scanners. So these are passive elements. There's a procurement officer in previous use case procured those sensors and I have attached to my system. Have you could you understand the details of the just a simple actor and interaction? Could you understand this
Yes.
Girth?
That
So
I
this is how
understood.
yeah, sure. And this is a really good question. Believe me, this is a really matured question. So we are thinking in the right direction. Believe me, and keep asking such questions. I really like, even if you could do a good use case diagram, you can be a good BA. Believe me. Means you understood the requirement, you understand or you depicted the business requirement in a use case. If this is like better start half done. That's what we say in English, right? आपका आधा काम हो जाता है अगर अपन ने स्टार्ट बहुत अच्छी तरह किया. तो this is a start for a BA. That's why I'm stressing. That's why I'm trying to spend so much time on you on these diagrams. Okay, so it's really good that we are clearing all these doubts. Okay. So I'll just any more questions for me at this moment?
Not from my side.
No.
Okay, I'll take it like everybody understand this. Try to incorporate these things in our order management so that we can discuss within 10-15 minutes tomorrow. I spend almost half an hour today because this is really crucial. We are reaching there. I'm really glad we are really moving at a good pace. Thanks a lot for that efforts. Okay. Let me try to share presentation and we'll move ahead on that thing. Could you see my presentation screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to. Okay. Now importance, because we've discussed the importance basically. I'll just repeat those things. It's really great evolved modern tool. It's evolved over 25 odd years, and it's really easy to capture functional requirement. Means you can just use pen and paper if or you can use lucid charts, or these guys are available in these tools are available in mobile as well as laptop, and it's free to use. So you could use something like that, whatever you feel comfortable as in BA, because BA is the person who drives the overall development vision, developers vision, the system integrators vision. Try to understand the all senior fraternity or the stakeholders or the projects, product, services, driver body. So these include somebody who is going to finance the project, because somebody has to finance a project product, right? So this goes to financer as well. And nowadays, all investors also believe in use case, diagrams. Means we had a meeting at IEEE last month, which is basically online meeting. And the investor asked to give me a use case scenario, use case diagrams, and luckily the person who were presenting his case to these investors, he had a rough sketch in pen and paper, and he just captured, means just like we did, right? He captured with his mobile and put it on the screen. And this is really important because whenever you start new company, getting finance from investor is a very crucial step. If you just miss a second, the investor might say, okay, not interested, let's go to the next one. So this is really crucial. Means it's life make and break decisions many times as far as use case goes. And normally every use case does build a vision, does build a overall next step or the baseline for the projects or a product what is going to get devised, what is going to get architected or designed on basis of use case. So that's how the use case functionality capture is important. So you need to capture as many as functionality as you can. Okay, and these are really easy, right? You can as we discussed, pen and paper or tools if you want to use. Okay, and then use case force developer to think from an end user's perspective. If you ever seen an IT developer, I was an IT developer, so I know we live in a silos. We don't normally means even if we designing a game, we normally don't go out of our room. We just think what user will think, and I'll assume he will think that, and then I'll build those software or games for them as well, for that matter. So we need to make these IT persons who normally lives in a silos to a level where end users perspective is importance, the exceptions and the scenarios of those requirements depicted clearly and crisply in the use case, right? So that's how the overall use case importance or the weightage does play in a business analyst life. Okay, and use case engage the user in the requirement process. Yes, this is basically depicting the overall requirement through and through with all the exceptions and scenarios. Okay, any questions on this?
No.
Okay, great. It's a plain and simple basically, right? Now, how do we make it more detail oriented? How do we enable it to go to the nth level, right? So we will name the actors, name each and every actor. We'll put some description, like we did it in those this description can be part of the overall system boundary, or they can be external as well. Normally we can do something like 1 star, 2 star. So, and in the footnote we depict this description in a diagram if you're doing using pen and paper or lucid charts for that matter. So these notes which are related to a particular use case or a decision node or a activity are normally very important. They create the detail required to implement such solutions in the actual day-to-day life, right? We talked about actors. We need to present list of actors. Even there is a standard practice of having multiple actor reacted to a single use case single actor in the use case diagram. Like we say customer, like we say user, like we say mobile user. So that actor flow is depicted by so many actors in a typical use case diagram, and we don't want to repeat that use case. There could be some conditions where actor can be a singular entity, he might never arise again, but still we mention it in the use case diagram. Okay, and then there's something called preconditions, like we see, right? Login is a preconditions to purchase something. So that's how we mention these preconditions, and then we start the flow of event. So condition that must be met prior to starting the use case. So purchasing, I can't start before login, right? Or before that credential management system allows me to go for purchasing things. So these kind of scenarios we need to depict, and I believe we've seen that example crisp and clear. That's really great. And then flow of events, we depict the flow of events as an the use case flows, the decisions, the deviations from the normal flow. There are exceptions and those things also. And then there are post conditions. Post conditions are important, and believe me, normally we miss this thing. Post condition brought a closure to a use case. Closure to a use case, it's a necessary thing. So when you say you prepared a tea, there's a need to drink a tea, right? We prepare the tea to drinking. So the use case must close at a end where says tea drink closure of activity. You can otherwise you can put the drink tea options in the circle with the black this thing as well, but it's depending on there's no wrong or right. This is basically how you improve your depiction in terms of process, their nodes, and their ends as well. So mentioning post conditions, mentioning end is really good thing, is really best practices as far as use case diagramming goes. Any questions on this?
No.
These are all technical labels. So when you say precondition, postcondition, this is how we use in normal business terminology. Yeah, please go ahead. Anybody have any question? Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, great. No problem. Let's go ahead. So we'll close this. Okay, we've seen this use case video last time. Do you want to see it again? I'll share the link basically. That lady talking about those things. Okay, let's try to watch that thing, because that will give you a really good idea now when we talked about various conditions, preconditions, and all those things as well. Give me a minute to start that thing, please. I'll close this thing. I'll do. I'll go here. Okay, I'll go here.
Hi, my name's Chloe, and I'll be.
Wait a minute. Where am I? Okay, stop share. I'll start share again. We've seen this video, but have a look at it again, because this is really important and this really will make us believe. I'll fast forward this thing basically.
Teaching you everything you need to diagram together and go over example for a new app, and every simple description of a use case diagram. First, it shows a system or application. Then it shows the people, organizations, or other systems that interact with it. And finally, it shows a basic flow of what the system or application does. It's a very high-level diagram and typically won't show a lot of detail, but it's a great way to communicate complex ideas in a fairly basic way. Before we really get into the tutorial, let's talk about how you're going to make a use case diagram. You can draw them out with pen and paper, but a diagramming application is going to be much easier. Today I'll be using Lucidchart, and you can too, for free actually. Just click the link to access Lucidchart's website. Enter your email address, and you'll have a free Lucidchart account in just a few seconds. It's easy to use, and you can follow along with me as we build a use case diagram. Okay, so we're going to break down use case diagrams into 4 different elements: systems, actors, use cases, and relationships. Let's start with systems. A system is whatever you're developing. It could be a website, a software component, a business process, an app, or any number of other things. You represent a system with a rectangle, and you put the name of the system at the top. We're going to build a use case diagram for a very simple banking application. We'll call our system Banking App. This rectangle helps define the scope of this system. Anything within this rectangle happens within the banking app. Anything outside of this rectangle doesn't happen in the banking app. The next element is an actor, which is depicted by this stick figure. An actor is going to be someone or something that uses our system to achieve a goal. That could be a person, an organization, another system, or an external device. So who or what is going to be using our banking app? The most obvious actor is a customer. We are going to have customers that download and use our banking app. Another actor that we'll want in our diagram is the bank. The bank is going to provide information that feeds into our banking app, like transactions and account balances. Here are a couple things to keep in mind when dealing with actors. First, it's important to note that these actors are external objects. They always need to be placed outside of our system. Second, actors need to be thought of as types or categories. For our banking app, an actor isn't going to be a specific individual or a specific organization. We wouldn't label our actors as John and Chase Bank. We want to keep things categorical. So right now we're saying that both customers and banks are going to use our app, and this brings up the topic of primary and secondary actors. A primary actor initiates the use of the system, while a secondary actor is more reactionary. So in our example, which actor is primary and which actor is secondary? The primary actor is customer. The customer is going to initiate the use of our system. They're going to pull out their phone, open up our banking app, and do something with it. Bank, on the other hand, is a secondary actor. The bank is only going to act once the customer does something. If the customer goes on the app to see how much money is in their account, Only then does the bank engage with our system to provide the balance. Primary actors should be to the left of the system, and secondary actors should be to the right. This just visually reinforces the fact that customer engages with the banking app and then the bank reacts. The next element is a use case, and this is where you really start to describe what our system does. A use case is depicted with this oval shape, and it represents an action that accomplishes some sort of task within the system. They're going to be placed within the rectangle because they're actions that occur within the banking app. So what is our banking app going to do? We're going to keep things very simple. Our banking app is going to allow a customer to log in, check their account balance, transfer funds between accounts, and make payments towards bills. So if this is what our banking app does, we're going to have use cases that describe each of those actions. We'll have a use case called login, another called check balance, another called transfer funds, and finally make payment. You can see that each of these use cases starts with a verb and reinforces an action that takes place. We also want them to be sufficiently descriptive. If this use case just said transfer, that'd be too vague. Finally, it's good practice to put your use cases in a logical order when possible. That's why we put login at the top. That's the first thing that will happen when a customer uses our banking app. The final element in use case diagrams are relationships. An actor, by definition, is using our system to achieve a goal. So each actor has to interact with at least one of the use cases within our system. In our example, a customer is going to log into our banking app. So we draw a solid line between the actor and the use case to show this relationship. This type of relationship is called an association, and it just signifies a basic communication or interaction. A customer is going to interact with the rest of these use cases as well. They're going to check balance, transfer funds, and make payment, so we'll draw solid lines out to each of those as well. Secondary actors will also have relationships. Remember, each actor has to interact with at least one use case, so which use cases will the bank interact with? When a customer wants to check their balance on the app, the bank is going to provide the correct amount. Let's draw a line between bank and check balance. Similarly, when a customer wants to transfer funds or make a payment, the bank is going to follow through with those transactions. We don't need to draw a line to log in because that process happens within the banking app. There's no need for the bank to actually get involved with the login process. There are three other types of relationships in addition to association. There's include, extend, and generalization. Let's build out this diagram with additional use cases in order to explain these types of relationships. When a customer types in their login information, our banking app is going to verify the password before completing the login process. But if the password is incorrect, the banking app is going to display an error message. So let's create two new use cases for verify password and display login error. When a customer wants to transfer funds or make a payment, our banking app is going to make sure there's enough money to complete those transactions. So we'll also create another use case called verify sufficient funds. And finally, when a customer wants to make a payment, our banking app is going to give them the option of paying from either their checking account or their savings account. So we'll create two more use cases called pay from checking and pay from savings. Let's circle back to this verify password use case and talk about relationships again. How does verify password relate to the rest of the diagram? Neither of our actors are directly initiating this action. It's just immediately going to happen within our banking app every time there's an attempt to log in. This is an include relationship. An include relationship shows dependency between a base use case and an included use case. Every time the base use case is executed, the included use case is executed as well. Another way to think of it is that the base use case requires an included use case in order to be complete. When you have an include relationship, you draw a dashed line with an arrow that points towards the included use case. So in our example, login is the base use case, and verify password is the included use case. Every time a customer logs in, our banking app will automatically verify password. This login use case won't be complete unless verify password is complete. So we draw a dashed line with the arrow pointing towards the included use case and we write include in double chevrons. The next type of relationship is the extend relationship. An extend relationship has a base use case and an extend use case. When the base use case is executed, the extend use case will happen sometimes, but not every time. The extend use case will only happen if certain criteria are met. Another way to think of it is that you have the option to extend the behavior of the base use case. When you have an extend relationship, you draw a dashed line with an arrow that points towards the base use case. In our example, login is a base use case, and display login error is an extended use case. Our banking app won't display a login error message every time a customer logs in. This will only happen once in a while when a customer accidentally enters an incorrect password. Since this is an extend relationship, we draw a dashed line with an arrow that points to the base use case and write extend between double chevrons. Hopefully, this thoroughly explains the difference between include and extend relationships. But just in case, here's a very basic example to help differentiate between the two. If you sneeze, you will close your eyes. That's an included relationship because it's going to happen every time. Additionally, if you sneeze, you might say excuse me. That's an extended relationship because it supplements the sneeze, but isn't completely necessary in the sneezing process. Just remember that include happens every time, extend happens just sometimes, and don't forget that the arrows point in opposite directions. One quick thing to note is that multiple base use cases can point to the same included or extended use case. For example, both transfer funds and make payment are going to point to verify sufficient funds as an included use case. We want our banking app to make this check every time either of these base use cases occur.
And this is what you call derived functionality or reusable functionality. So the business will build a sufficient, verify sufficient fund product or iterations which will support this thing, and it will develop only once, even if it's going to get used multiple times. This is how the overall things is getting depicted and derived the meaning from. So I'm trying to talk you to a level where development team is interacting with BA, right? So how that includes and the extents have those priorities in development, be it a product, be it a service, be it support. So these things perforate to a really big amount of impact in development, development terminology or the product building terminology. And as in BA, whenever you start understanding this, your life becomes more fertile, more impactful, and you'll be more critical resource as an BA because you hold the information like this within you, right, within your documents. So whatever you pertain, whatever you explain to the development team or senior management, that's how the product is going to get envisioned, that's how the product is going to get built, right? So these relationship does matter a lot. This relationship depicts all the development strategies of building a product or a project, whatever it may be.
You don't need to duplicate the verify sufficient funds use case. The simpler your diagram, the better. The last type of relationship we'll discuss is generalization, also known as inheritance. When you make a payment from our banking app, you can do so from either your checking account or your savings account. In this scenario, make a payment is a general use case, and pay from savings and pay from checking are specialized use cases.
Here I can give a passive actor called checking account and saving account as well and get this thing done from them. But that's also I can this is a kind of what you can say specialized or inbuilt system functionality, so I can depict as a use case as well, right? So that's how this is depicted here.
You could also use the terms parent and children. Each child shares the common behaviors of the parent, but each child adds something more on its own. To show that this is a generalization, we draw this type of arrow from the children up to the parent. You can have generalizations on use cases like we have here. You can also have generalizations with actors. In certain scenarios, you might want to distinguish between a new customer and a returning customer. You can make them both children to a general customer actor, which would allow you to have certain behaviors or qualities unique to each of these children.
This is how we differentiate the users as well. So an employee, a guest, in the our attendance management system will be generalized users, right?
One last shape that we'll quickly talk about is a use case with extension points. You can see an example here. The name of the use case is above the line, and then there are extension points below the line. Extension points are just a detailed version of extend relationships. This use case shows that a customer can set up their profile in our banking app. And then these extension points show us that when a customer is setting up their profile, they'll have the option to navigate to a couple different screens. If a customer is confused, they can go to Profile Help. And if they want details regarding their private information, they can go to Privacy Info. Those extension points branch off to extended use cases. Go to Profile Help and show Privacy Info. We can even add a note to show what sort of conditions would lead to these extension points. Now we have a complete use case diagram with various elements that help explain what our banking app does.
So, okay, I'll start sharing again. Okay, so any confusion at this moment on use case diagramming?
No.
Okay, great. Let's try to do these things whenever you have time. I know it's a bit lengthy than the previous homework, but this will basically make us understand how well we've understood the use case diagramming tool. I'm going to share this video with you as well, but not today. I want you to think it through, and then we'll have this video shared in after next session, because I want to understand the basic thought process, the basic knowledge captured by you, and how you depict in a diagram. It can be similar thing like plain paper, or you can try using Lucid chart as well. Okay, it's your call. I'm okay with both of these things, right? So let's go ahead. Now, these are the actual documents which BA handles, right? As in BA's day-to-day responsibility, there are two most crucial documents. One is called System Requirement Specification, other is called Business Requirement Specification. Let's try to understand these two. Business Requirement Specification is normally made by the client, like State Farm in our scenario, and SRS is normally built by BA like us. We create SRS, we author SRS. The BRD is given to us by the client, right? So BRD has some formal contract between the customer. So it's a contract between State Farm and Infosys in our example. So State Farm is giving a contract to Infosys saying, I want to improve my current attendance management system with iris scanner, body scanner, wish list, green color, red color, yellow color, and so on and so forth. So there could be 10, 15 different requirements or vision which shared in a BRD, which took it to a next level by BA called System Requirement Specification Documents. We have template for both of these, and we'll try to go through those templates as well. But let's try to understand the basic need for these documents. So a business requirement document is a formal contract. It's called statement of work. It's called agreed terms and conditions by many different labels. But try to understand it in BRD, business requirement document. So wherever you share business requirement with a BA or with the development partner, it's called BRD, right? They don't have any normal template, because these are driven by the let's say State Farm very senior person will share such document to a very senior person within NP, within Infosys, right? So these normally can be a simple email which come to BS desk saying, okay, please treat this as a BRD and start processing the requirement. This happens normally, right? So it can be a typical email with 10-15 points which we need to elaborate on, which we need to elicit on as an BA. That's our responsibility. Any questions at this moment?
No.
Okay, great. So then BA's main and prime responsibility is creating the system requirement documents, which establish the basis for an agreement between customer and a contractor, State Farm and Infosys, a client in a need and a client which can support such things. So it's a kind of engagement relationship next step. So these guys basically sit together and build the basic business requirement. So what does business need? Business need to improve their attendance management system. This has been thought by the business, top people in State Farm, and they came to Infosys saying, I want to build or improve my current attendance management system. Simple, understood by everybody. Now this will be depicted in a document or an email. Voice recording is not a standard, but it can be an exceptional scenario nowadays. Or somebody can capturing a video clip saying I want something like this also happens, but that can be included in our document as well for that matters nowadays, because Word, Excel, or the web page, they can play this video whatever given by the client, because all these auditory fact, all these requirement traceability is a need as in BA or as in business to improve the quality management systems day in day out. So all these client supplied material, as we talk about, are part of BRD and can be copied in SRS as well. So SRS is an extension of BRD, right? So SRS is based on BRD. SRS is an evolution to the BRD, a next step toward the BRD in terms of thinking and understanding requirement. Okay. Any confusion at this moment?
I just wanted to ask, can you just share some sample SRS and BRD?
Yeah, we will do that. First, try to understand the philosophy and theory behind this, right? So we're trying to understand, right? We are building our envisions, right? So, sample I told you, the State Farm is trying to send State Farm CEO trying to send a mail to Infosys CIO saying, I want to improve my attendance management system with iris scanner and with body scanner and so on and so forth. So there could be 6-7 entities in that mail saying, 1, improve attendance management system, 2, include iris scanner, 3, include body scanner, 4, please suggest the best instrument to procure, please suggest the timeline for the above product to be developed and deployed at my St. Louis location or at my Peoria location, whatever it may be. So there could be 6-7 elements in the mail which the CEO of a State Farm sends to an Infosys person, the Infosys CIO, right? Who basically heads the overall technology division for CIO for that region, for Infosys for that region, right? So this is a sample which we are discussing. The sample understood?
Yeah, I just wanted to know that if you can, like we practice the use case.
We are going to do it because we are going to build a BRD. We are going to build an SRS based on BRD. We are going to do that's plan. Part of workshop. So don't worry.
Practicality will help us learn more faster than the theoretical thing, right? So that's what I was asking.
No, but once if you don't know theory, then practice. You can't go really high. Believe me.
Yes,
These are strictly defined document, strictly what you can say. Discipline documents. So let's not try to jump the bandwagon, right? Let's try to understand. And most of the way they confuse between BRD and SRS. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And even most of the clients, they label it differently. But overall, from the PMS perspective, from the certification perspective, understanding SRS versus BRD is a really good need. Because normal, if you look at normal, certification exam, SRS versus BRD is almost covers 30 to 35% of the overall, the exam which you do for PMI or the, business analyst certification thing. So this is important from that point of view also. So theory does play a part of, good part in terms of understanding why and what of the world, right? So let's take it,
got it.
Okay, sure. So we are trying to understand BRD and SRS. So BRD is high-level functional specification. I'll not say functional specification. It's kind of functional listing of a software. Let me update this thing because this really, differs the overall listing. Okay, sure. So this is basically kind of high-level functional listing of a software shared by a very senior person to the client, who is kind of development partner who will build SRS. SRS is built by business analyst. He authors this document. He start eliciting or evaluating the requirement which is given by the business of a client. In our case, State Farm giving some requirement to a CIO who is forwarding it to you as an BA. So you're going to start working on the system requirement specifications based on the email you received, based on the document or videos or audios you received from your boss or top boss to be specific. and you start building these SRS, right? So now let's come to BRD again. It's a formal document to describe the requirement provided by the client, written or verbal, or in a video, in audio. Now, let's not talk about those channels right now. Let's try to gather requirement from that. Let's try to build a functional, non-functional requirement for the software to be developed based on the BRD sent by the client, right? And that's how the vision building starts. That's how the BA conceives the vision, put it into a document, and start dipping it to the development teams within Infosys, right? The business analyst creates it after direction and interaction with the client. Or there could be a scenario where we gone to a meeting, like I discussed in our sample previously. You go with your project manager and start building BRD, sitting across the CEOs, CIOs of State Farm, and start trying to vision the BRD as well. So BRD can be created by business analysts sometime, but these are kind of exceptional scenarios. So 80 to 85% SRS is authored by BA. BRD is supplied to him, right? Okay, so there could be some exceptions as well. BRD is derived from the requirement and the client interactions. If you go there, if BA visiting a client and trying to understand what he or she needs as for supporting his business or making his business more effective, more enabled, and so on and so forth. Okay, and BRS is SRS is derived from BRS, so SRS depends on BRD. We evolve the requirement, we build better requirement on these scenarios, right? Then again, BRD, business requirement summary. This BRD actually have business requirement summary, whatever the actual need is. The cost benefit analysis, because this is a business document. This is not a technical document, or this is not a functional document. It's a business document. So we have to have the cost repercussions, the scalability of a business need, how many users it will use, how many users will be added yearly or bi-monthly or whatever it may be, the period which business considers important for their evolution, how much availability or reliability the business needs. Is it a website? Is it 24/7? Is it a attendance management system normally available 24/7? So if we have round-the-clock shift, then it can be basically supported to all round-the-clock requirement for employees coming in, going out, and all those things. It normally has a strong security, which is mentioned in the BRD. How difficult, how critical this process is for the business is normally mentioned in the BRD, and that has to be evolved in the security measures which we want to implement in our product, project, or services, right? And of course, nowadays every BRD has how many devices will it support? Is it mobile enabled? Is it laptop enabled? Is it desktop enabled? The screen size and the various sensors attached with it, so on and so forth. And there are performance requirements. If it's a website, how much login should take, how much maximum a login process must take, how much the biometric scanner should take when somebody puts a finger on it, somebody puts an eye on it. It should be how secure or safe it is for the user. These are performance requirements mentioned in the BRD. And the accountability and audit checks required by the business sponsor also mentioned in the BRD. So these are around 8 odd elements which are must in a BRD. But the overall weightage of the these items vary because business is the driver. The top management is the driver for the BRD. So normally BRD don't or not embedded in a specific template. There are templates available, but whenever BRD is shared with BA, it's normally in a form of email. That's what I have seen. Almost 85 to 90% BRD comes as an bulleted email. Okay, let's start working on that, and this is how it happens. So we'll take it from there as well. Okay. Now try to understand system requirement documents. System requirement document is a system requirement summary. So we are trying to convert the functionality to a system's requirement. We are converting the thought process to a implementable idea, to building what, how, where, and how we'll achieve it, what to procure it, and those scenarios. So these are implementation documents. These are documents where I'm trying to create an actual ground scenario. Okay. BRD is a vision. BRD is a dream. SRS is an actual life. That's the overall, gist of it. I know these are kind of extreme what I'm talking about, but yeah, that's the overall, what you can talk about, how the process flows, right? And then these have system, service, dependencies, like we say, extension, includes, and those things. Then we have interportability requirement. Will it be required to have Android, iOS, and Windows device support, and so on and so forth? How the infrastructure we play? Where should we plan the servers? Will it be American based? Will it be a region based system, or will it be available globally? Will it be available 24/7, or do I have certain laid back time to update the system, upload the new system, new versions, and those things? How the release management will work, versioning, life cycle, what are the other systems which will interact with, how's the environment, how's the technology portfolio at state farm, at client's end, and how this new system will be clubbed in that. That's also a crucial part, because whenever you're going to develop this thing, the environment play a good part, a critical part in overall solution implementation. So these implementation fundamentals are very crucial in SRS, and they have a special chapter attached to that. Okay, and then there's something called high level diagram. What is a high level diagram? High level diagram is a typical dabbas and flows where we depict the high level system parts. In our attendance management system, there'll be a box called scan your retina, or a functionality to scan each employee's attendance by retina. That can be a box. So the development team will develop all the implementation, all the required procurement and the software and the integration software and the connectors to enable this thing to be attached to the existing system, so that the existing attendance system will be empowered, will be enhanced to support the retina scanner, to support the overall body scanner, and various other devices, whatever it mentioned in the BRD. So any confusion on these 6 points? Anything which you couldn't understand, couldn't think it through? There are certain technical terms in this here, because now we are going to the actual ground level scenario. So we are going or putting the BA shoes on, and I'm start walking now. So there will be some technical terminology which we need to understand. That's why I say keep a pen and paper, try to jot down these difficult terminology. High level diagram we'll use throughout our training. Now there's something called low level diagram also, because these are a system implementation details which gets created out of the SRS, and these HLDs are, or high level diagrams are more detailed by the system architects, which will create an LLD based on HLD. So there's a traceability of a requirement. When somebody says iris scanner, some CEO says iris scanner for his office, the development team will develop the code, the instrument, and get it attached to the system. That's how the overall requirements get evolved, and that's documentation ownership is with BA to embed this thing in the vision, in the mission for the given project, product, or services. Okay, I believe it's quite clear, so I'll move ahead. And then there's a third document called functional requirements specification. Now these documents have many labels, but let's try to understand first label now, and then we'll talk think about the other labels of these documents. In typical IT, information technology domain, these are the functional requirement specification are the most crucial document for a given product, project, or services. These are designed by architects, solution architects, or technology architect. These have all the inclusions of use case diagram, the flow charts many times, the activity diagram, the sequence diagram, and all other bandwagons of diagrams which UML supports. So functional requirements document is the most crucial part where the product, project, or services are based on. This is a Bible for a given project or process. Okay, now these document has normally functional as well as non-functional requirements, and these requirements come from the BRD, which has a use case diagram inbuilt in it. So all functional diagram has been depicted and approved by the top management in terms of use case diagram, most probably. But there are certain, non-functional requirements which normally go as a table, saying for this, like we discussed, the Sony and Philips, iris scanner. Philips iris scanner, not the best, but it's the best cost-effective solution we can give it to a client. Sony iris scanner, not the generalized solution, but it's a specific requirement if the client needs for a light blue eye type of users. So those kind of functional non-functional requirements get included in the functional requirements specification, Then we have a business process model as well. How the development or how it will attach to the current business processes at client's place, at State Farm, how this ID scanner is going to get integrated with that. Then there's a context diagram, solution boundaries, which come from use case diagrams. We'll have a look at it. We had a look at it, flowchart as well, right? So how to include these things in FRS, and this will come as is from the BRDs. So BRD has this, and these are carried forward to the functional requirement specification. Then business rules and data part requirements. So requirements are basically getting evolved to a workflow level, implementation level. We build some business rules. These are done by the solution architects or the development teams. So functional requirements, the basic crux comes from the SRS, which authored by BAs. So the basis of functional requirement is SRS. So if the BRD which we receive is around 6 to 7 points, the SRS is normally 60-70 pages, and FRS normally span over 350 plus pages. That's how the overall criticalness of a BRD, the SRS, which is authored by BA, which is BA's responsibilities, right? So try to understand how your thought process should be crisp, clear, and evolved. How we can include, or how we can, really build a great product, great project for the given client or for a given companies. So that's why even BA are the person who receive the awards most for the project, because if a project is success, BA's role is almost around 6 to 70% in the success of project. And better than project managers, BA get award, because the requirements are done really fine and fair. The use case diagrams were the best diagrams, and so on and so forth. So BA's efforts get appreciated really well, and that's why I say BA's overall satisfaction of job is really good, even than project managers and the solution architects. Because whatever you do, this work is basically getting visualized by senior management, top management at client, and top management at your company like Infosys as well. So it's really crucial to build your concept, to build high level display of these entities and interaction. That this is what the HLD is all about. You build a conceptual model of different entity and their interactions. Then you build a logical business model. On basis of conceptual model, the solution architect will build a logical business functional model, which will be part of FRS, and where he devises the activity to be implemented in terms of workflows, modules, and you can call them class diagram, object diagrams, or sequence diagram. Normally, BA doesn't create sequence diagram, but understanding sequence diagram give you really a great level, and we'll have a run through of a sequence diagram as well, like we did it for use case. So don't worry about your thought process, your understanding. This is very crucial for a BA to understand FRS as well, because whatever is devised based on your vision, your requirements, your traceability have been evolved to a document which is used by the team to implement day in, day out. So this Bible, which is created out of your document, has a kind of really criticalness or importance attached to it. That's why BA is a sign of authority in functional requirement specification. So you really approve the FRS. So you are an approving authority. For SRS, you are the author. You create, you evolve the requirements, and then these requirements taken forward to the development team through FRS. Have you understood the overall flow of BRD, SRS, and FRS? This is really, really critical and crucial for every BA to understand. Any confusion? Any, are we there? Let me check out. Revati, Santosh, have you understood the flow overall?
Yes.
Not much. It will take time
Technical
to some technical words are there. So
Okay, no problem. You'll have this presentation, you'll have the recording also. It'll be uploaded within a day or two, and they will share with us.
So
So you'll,
we
or
can
you can come back to me. Means if you have any confusion, just think it through, right? And come back to me, and I'll happy to basically address any function. We might revisit this thing quickly tomorrow as well, so that because these three are the life and bread and butter of BA. So these three documents really devise the overall experience and implementation for a BA. So these are crucial things. Yes. Usha, do you have any question?
Not exactly, but I was not able to understand this FRS properly.
Okay, no problem. See, FRS is not authored by BA, but he's kind of approval for the FRS, because that FRS evolved on the basis of SRS, System Requirement Specification. So this FRS basically builds the implementation level details from your SRS, which is not technology dependent. So where a project manager might be implementing a server based on .NET technology interacting with the iris scanners, right? So whatever functionality you mention or required for a mentioned in the SRS for a typical iris scanner has to be implemented, has to be is a must for iris scanners to execute as far as FRS goes. So FRS is further detailing of SRS. Plus, there are many more additions like implementation details like server configuration, number of users, scalability, how they can manage 2 million users for a website, and so on and so forth. So these are evolutionary documents. So there's a BRD is the first step, SR is the middle step, and FRS is, you can say, final step, because this is the final step for BA. BA is not go to a overall implementation floor or the development floor to understand how we're going to implement the on ground. But FRS is a mirror for those activities which are performed on a development floor for a BA. Okay, so we will don't worry, we will learn FRS via template, via sample as well. So no worries there. So don't worry.
So,
but you understood the basic need and the basic evolution, right?
So let me put it in one line and correct me if if I'm wrong.
Please.
So
Great.
BRD comes from the stakeholder or from higher authorities from other company. Then
That's right.
The business analyst, he makes the SRS.
Right.
So it means that will be documentation. That's not something like he'll not be making diagram. He'll be documenting.
No, diagram is a part of the document.
Okay, so then because here also it says in FRS also it's saying flow diagrams and data and all those things.
Right,
So
it
what's
coming from the SRS. SRS, these diagrams are copied into FRS.
Okay, the same diagrams, whatever is made in SRS, they are copied in FRS.
FRS, and plus added some more details by those teams. Those are the designers, they design the solutions, right? So
Okay.
they'll include something like difficulty in .NET, but we need to do a proof of concept, or we need to check out if it's get implemented while we're developing, or if the time is sufficient, and so on and so forth. So those are implementation details.
So FRS, in FRS part, business analysts, program managers, developers, everyone will be involved, or
That's right.
only everyone will be involved.
Everyone will be involved. That's right.
Okay, now it's making some sense.
Okay, no problem. Pardon me for that. And this thing happens, so don't worry. But FR is kind of Bible for their development, Bible for the overall product, project, or scenario. So that's how it's get evolved, and they make it in their language. SRS is BA's language. SRS is created by the BA for the business to be taken to an nth level for implementation. Okay. So I believe everyone is clear about the basic need and philosophy of FRS. Any other question?
No, thank you.
No problem. No problem. Okay. So these are the 3 documents. What was that? We are ready to work on. Okay. Let me show if I have a sample. Okay. Let me share that Word document with you. Give me a minute, please. Here are these things. Let's try to understand, what are the templates I have and how we can, visualize these things. Let me stop sharing of this PPT and start sharing the document template. This is a BRD. As I told you, BRD is not disciplined because these are created by the CEOs of the world. So normally this template give you a generic idea how overall, the business requirement document is created. This is a template, and the way I, work on a template, I give these, disciplined approach, where to use what and all those things. So don't worry about those things. But let's go to a, yeah, and there is a stamp and there's a, overall a declaration by the author, and then we have what we call revision sign off sheet. Here we maintain the traceability of the document. So who have authored, who have changed, what versions, whom to be distributed, how the change is reflected, the reviews, who actually authored, who actually reviewed, when version approved, position, date. This is basically done at a client, and these tables are copied in all the documents. These are standard agile requirements. So whenever we learn agile, we'll understand these things in depth. But right now, just try to understand whoever does this has an active part, or he mentioned this in here. So the overall credibility, the traceability flows throughout the documentation system in agile, and that's the normal standard what you can say documentation processes we follow. Now what the BRD should have normally, these are the points we discussed, right? So we have a business requirement summary, can be a bulleted points, cost benefit analysis. This is not for the BA, but it's good to understand how the how much investment is going on, how is the overall cost at play, how the revenue is working for them, then availability, reliability, business need scenarios, then how the security plays an important part for a given project, process, or support, how the device type supports are enabled or required for the given vision missions, and then performance requirements given by the top management of the client, and accountability and audit track to the business sponsor. These are the basic kind of chapters, and in template I have given these things, right? So the requirement defines the needs of our organization. This is the most thing with regards to the solution. So whenever State Farm thinks he needs to get a better attendance management system, he'll create a BR. That company will create a BRD. Might be through CIO, authors, or whatever stakeholder they are working with the team or the companies. They will create these things. These are the user requirements. These are the business requirements with individual or group of users. The operational requirements, they also mention the operational requirements, like how much they want in terms of morning availability, evening availabilities, at the door, at the clerk's desk, whatever it may be. So these are basically, there are business implementation details, not the technology implementation details, but they can include technology implementation detail as well, like operating environment, which type of environments I'm operating to. Do we have Windows? Do we have Unix? Do we have Android? Or do we need to work in a colder environment? Do we need to work in a warmer environment? Those kind of requirements also will be included in BRD if the BRD made at length, discussed and evolved at length. But normally that's not the scenario. This is the best scenario if you can receive a BRD in this template. Means BA will be really happy. Then what he actually wants, his work is almost 30 to 40% done if any business requirement comes in this template. But normally not. So let's talk more about practicability. Okay, and then as I told you, these all these things are explained in bulleted points. So the description and the justification and those part of it. So I'll share this with you so that you can create BRDs whenever we need to, right? And then there's something called SRS. I'll not change. Okay, these guys have even traceability inbuilt them, so that we have all those bells and whistles required for the history. Oh, not the functional one. And we have the system requirements specification. Okay, now let me try to share this thing. Where's that? I have to go here. I have to start share. Come on. Okay, start sharing screen. Now this is the most crucial document. Let's try to understand this, right? Let's try to spend some time on this. So I normally have business requirement specification for customer name, for project name as well, and PROJECD project, PRODUCD product, or support name. So these are detailed enough for a given project, product, and support. And then we build this template, right? We build the overall traceability. So business analyst will be the author, right? Then he'll maintain the chain record. So let's say date so and so, by author so and so, the version he's working on, the start version is normally draft. Then you have the first release, then the 1.1.1, 1.1.2, and so on and so forth. So we'll talk about the versioning in our quality assurance module, how we do versioning, how we improve the document traceability with the versioning, how we include the requirement traceability within the versioning. That's we'll learn in detail in our QA, training sessions. And as I told you, we have all the reviewers track, we have distribution tracks, we have, system requirement document for a given project process support. Then the author name, the BA name will come here, the creation date, last updated date, and then you save these versions. So BA, okay, there are two types of documents. One are called live documents, and one are called as release document. Try to understand that. Release document, you release it as per the requirement updates. Live documents, they are live, they get updated on fly. FRS is a live document. SRS is a release document. You release it whenever there is a need. Whenever there is a change in requirement, you release a new release of a SRS. But FRS is live. They normally get updated day in, day out. It doesn't mean that BA has to keep a track on FRS day by day, but it's almost expected that at least once in a week, BA checks for the FRA. Normally, everything is on cloud, right? So you can update, you can, approve the FRS on cloud. You can update the BRD, you can update the SRS also on a cloud. So nowadays we can use something like Office 365. You can use some really shared Word document templates or Word documents across the cloud so that everybody visualize whenever you update those things. So these are really, the agility methodology is already cloud enabled or already global environment enabled. So don't worry on those parts. So whatever you write, it will be get shared with team indirectly, implicitly by the processes, by the infrastructure. So you don't have to worry to send this document by email nowadays. But we used to send this into email. So there used to be a list of distribution list, what we used to call. So BA has to have around 4 or 5 people in this distribution list, where whenever you're done with SRS, you'll email them as an attachment. This document as an attachment with all the bells and the whistles included in it, right? So the project management methodology has been evolving, and so just the overall business analysis processes and distribution methodologies has been evolved now. So there are changes which will incorporate in our training so that you'll be enabled whenever you start working on a job on day one. That's the overall motto of here, right? Now we talked about system requirement summary, which comes from the BRD. We give a couple of details. So if there's a simple statement like use Philips Iris reader. Now BA will add a couple of statements to that para saying client specified requirement, please use Philips Iris scanner. I'm just taking a sample, just for our thought process, just for our as in BA, how we build this thing, how we create these documents. That's what we're talking about. So we are talking about implementing Philips Iris scanner for State Farm by Infosys in their next solutions. So what you'll do, Philips Iris scanner. So then you'll go on the net, or you go to an SME saying, boss, I have never seen Philips Iris scanner. So tell me about this. So that SME, the subject matter expert, or that project manager will guide you. You can go to this website, you can collect this detail, you can include those things in document. So we'll include what this Philips, Iris scanner look like. You can include a photo of a Philips Iris scanner from the Philips, product website. You try to understand the overall, nitty-gritty and the environment of a such Philips scanner. You might not be a very technical person, so you can face a difficulty. So then you'll go to project manager or the SME which is supplied to implement these scanners. So all these subject matter experts are working as an assistant to BA so that he can devise, he can implement, or he can think about the vision to the great details, and that can be included in the SRS. This is how the SRS is built. So it's not what you can say responsibility of a single person, but the onus lies with the BA. So BA has to collect all these details by meeting, by brainstorming, by researching, and so on and so forth. So there's a great amount of efforts involved in building SRS. We're trying to understand this thing step by step. Okay, so let's go ahead. Now, what we collect in terms of business, what you can say, system requirement summary. So we define system requirements. We define the current state of IT infrastructure in State Farm, right? This document is getting evolved from the BRD coming from State Farm. So I'm trying to understand the IT infrastructure in the state farm as a company, how the current state, how modern are they? Are they quite modern? Are they really evolutionary? Are they ready for new challenges, new purchase, new procurement within this? This is what I'll include in the overall business requirement, system requirement specification, right? So it defines the new solution will interact with the existing system. Where the critical dependency exists must be carefully managed. Yes, any questions for me?
Practical ఏమైనా చెప్పండి.
Hello? Any question for me? I couldn't understand the words you said. Okay, I believe that was not for me. Sorry. So let's go ahead. So we are talking about environmental study where the solution is going to get fit, right? So I'm going to think about overall the State Farm office, how we include or how we connect this new Philips iris scanner within the State Farm infrastructure. That's overall the business need. That's a kind of nth level business need which I'm trying to evaluate in systems requirement specifications here, right? And then I'll devise the justification with the current infrastructure, how you understood it, how it can be clubbed together with the minimum negative impact. There could be obstruction, battles and all those things, but how we could include these things in the least obstructed way or least repercussive way. That's overall, how the justification has to be done. And then how the team, primary role has been calibrated for a given project. So there could be requirement of a project manager who will be program manager who will be responsible for basically, making sure we implemented all the system requirements which are completed as a, development team. So these are now we are carry forwarding the requirement, carry forwarding the visions from a requirement to a project implementation role. And that's how the overall BA channels work. That's how BA channel the overall efforts to that nth level, right? To that, progress level, program manager and project manager, these receives this input from BA, and then they build this development, plan, development requirement, development solution designs, and so on and so forth. So development has a primary responsibility for creating the content of a system requirements. No, this is like content for functional requirement. Sorry, this is wrong. Functional requirements. And this is an evolutionary step as we discussed before, right? And then the release planning is also part of functional requirement. So release will participate the development both in content and creation and review process. Like SRS, we have functional requirement, document history, and the review history as well. They have a big history. Then if you look at a typical project which is completed, the document history of business requirement document can be spanned to 3 or 4 pages, but the FRS document history normally spans around 15 to 20 pages. That's a normal thing. Means if it's a big project, then it can go haywire, and we might have 20 different odd business requirement document and around 60 odd functional requirement specifications floating around, right? But normally that's why functional requirement specification is a live document. So they just keep the history track within one document. So that one document gets extended, so on and so forth. So this is how the overall evolution of this document process works. And this is how BA copes to it. This is how we add to it. This is how we add the value to the overall solution, right? And then the team roles, the secondary team roles. We have a product management for a typical product. If you are building various products, if you are building various okay, so we are building various products, we are building various solutions to this scenario. So there will be a prime corresponding stakeholders, and there will be secondary stakeholder who normally report to the prime stakeholder and take it ahead from the SRS. They build this FRS as in they own this document. They are the authors, they are the owners of these documents. But the SRS has been extended to the FRS. So the BA plays an approval part for the FRS. And that's how you normally interact with the product manager. You normally interact with the test manager also many of the time. So that whatever has been implemented has to be conformed to the requirement mentioned in the SRS. That's how the overall, BA's roles gets extended nowadays. That's how the BA role is evolved nowadays, right? Any confusion at this moment?
No confusion, but it's kind of too much. I am trying to understand, but like it's kind of too much.
So do you want me to stop now?
Saturation. Yeah, it's kind of getting saturated.
Okay, no problem. So we'll stop here. I'll share this thing throughout the group, so you can go through this, understand this, and we'll start with the today's review. We'll try to understand the use case diagram which you have drawn, and we'll discuss on that, and then we'll go to the SRS. Okay?
Okay.
No problem. See, I'm here for you, right? If it's too much, tell me, and we can stop there. Okay, and I think we've done quite good. Means we are almost nearing to us our limit also. So no worries on that part. Okay, so I'll share this document template with you. What else I have to share with you?
I'm sorry.
BRD, let's not look at those templates, but I think use case is FRS we will discuss next time, no problem. But yeah, I'll share this template. What else I've promised you to share with you?
That YouTube thing which we watched it.
Sure, no problem. I'll post that in a group. I'll post these two things in a group so that you can have a look at those things. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for your time. And
Word documents you said that you will be sharing.
Yeah. System requirement station. BRD, they don't use templates. So, using that doesn't really, what you can say, normally BRD is given by very senior persons and normally comes in part of a, document, email only. But if not, I can share that document. I have that document with you, so I can share it, no problem. So I'll share three things with you. BRD template, which is not used, SRS template, which is the ownership of a BA and which he or she works on day in, day out, and the video of use case, so that you can do your homework effectively as far as that order management system goes. And my humble request, please do that. Spend some half an hour whenever you get time. If you're working, carry those pen and paper with you, and then you can use Lucid charts. If you want to really get acquainted with the tools, start using Lucid chart. It's really free for all, and you have to just register once, and it will give you a really crisp and clear idea. First time you might require some time to learning the tool, but otherwise when you learn, it's much faster than pen and paper as well. Believe me, I've done that thing. Okay, so try those things. Sure. Thanks a lot for today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
meet again tomorrow. We have a meeting. We have training tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
So it
Thanks.
will always be 9 o'clock?
Come again, please.
It will always be 9 o'clock, or you want to do it at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock every day?
No, it's 9 o'clock. That's how it's planned. You want to do it at 8 o'clock? Tell me.
No, I am okay with both actually. If
9
it's
is
8
good.
or 9, it's
So
fine
we
with
will be
me.
done with children.
I know. Yeah, I can understand.
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we planned it at 9 o'clock. Okay.
Chalo, thank you
So
so
we
much.
will keep it at 9 o'clock. And sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Good side. Just that.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Good night to you as well.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Good night.